it wouldn't be right if we did not talk about
The main
Drake
event.
versus Kanye. Actually, let's do a bomb for this one. I personally can go on a whole hour about this, so I'm going to let you go first because I have everything from ESPN to the third listening party, and so I want to see
Yeah.
what direction you want to go with this.
No, I'm all for that, and I definitely want you to introduce that. I think for me, quickly, I just want to say, again, for those who thrive off of competition, the thing that I see here, like when you really about it, you go look for it, right? Like I feel like Kanye could have released a month ago. And while, yes, to some extent, he was making adjustments, he was perfecting, he was upgrading, he was doing this, he was doing that, the master got it for sure. But I think to some extent, he really wanted this competition here. Now, again, I'm looking at what it says on Apple Music under Kanye's album, and it says, I think it says like potential pre-release September 3rd, something like that. So
Yes.
who knows? Maybe it doesn't get released September 3rd, but it sure does make for a heck of a storyline right now that a lot of these adjustments were made in part to set up for let's go head to head. Now, immediately what came back to mind was when the same thing happened between Kanye and 50. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course I do.
A good while back where they kind of went, head to head and I think Kanye won that by a landslide.
Yep.
But for me, I just like you know what? I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna go to the front door of my competition and knock on the door and say, hey, let's go toe to toe on this one. So that's kind of what I see. For me, I'm just tapped in as a fan, as a someone who enjoys music. Like, okay, this is about to be good.
Yeah. So, all right. For our viewers, you see the hat that I'm wearing. Even though I'm a low-key, high-key Kanye West fan, as y'all know, because I think I go over him and talk about him every episode. But the move that Drake did this week, priceless. So,
Classic.
for those who don't know what I'm talking about, let me give you a quick rundown. So, Kanye West did another listening party, right? This time in Chicago. Really good. If you didn't see it, go YouTube. They probably have the replay somewhere, right? Apple Music streamed it, everything like that. Oh, I don't think we discussed it here, but Kanye West has already made over $12 million before the album drop. Based off, and it's probably more now, it was 2 listening parties, the merchandise, and the streaming, because the streaming went up. It had all equaled up at the time that I was looking at it, I think $12.75 million. Now he had a third listening party. He sold more merch. He came out with a stem player that he then collaborated with this electronics company that was $200 a pop, that you can have the max of 3. So, then of course the Gap situation. There's a lot of things that's happening. So when the listening party happened, of course, this past Friday, her album didn't drop again. When they were so sure that it was going to drop, it didn't. Now, Drake and Ye have been going a little bit back and forth. Kanye West dropped his location. Drake did this story laughing at it. Drake did a verse on Trippie Redd's album. I'm giving you the backstory. Bear with me. Trippie Redd's album dissed him. They've been going back and forth. This is where this gets really classic. So Kanye West did a text, which people assume that Drake was in or whatever. Pusha T was definitely in there. Took a screenshot, put it on social media with the Joker, right? And said something. Doesn't even matter what it says anymore. Drake took that to heart and pulled a Joker move. He interrupted SportsCenter, ESPN SportsCenter, and made it look like it was hacked to show somebody holding up a poster that said CLB, which means Certified Lover Boy, September 3rd, which is supposedly the same day as Kanye West that is dropping. No, I'm not doing listening parties. No, I'm not even going to announce it on my own. I'm going to interrupt one of the most watched television shows in the morning. I'm going to let the internet tell everybody that I hacked it. ESPN even acknowledged, yo, I don't know what happened to our services, but it's great now. Don't know what happened. So they knew something was going on, right? They just couldn't figure out. And literally Drake pulled a Joker move because that happened in the movie. Now, this is where I love this situation because it is now a head-on situation. Forget the beef or supposedly beef. Who's going to sell more? And I personally, as much of a Kanye West fan I am, think Drake is going to outsell Kanye. For the simple fact, we have not heard Drake. We've heard Kanye 3 times. Over and over and over, right? So there isn't necessarily much of a rush to listen to the Kanye West album over the Drake one, which I think Drake strategically did to be like, oh, I'm going to outsell you because you did this 3 times. You wanna do random stabs at me? Don't worry, I'll drop the same day, and so I'll be on the Billboard that week, the next week, the following week, and because I'll probably have songs for everybody. I'll have the singing songs, I'll have the rap songs. I'm probably gonna hit the charts more than what you have, because we already heard it several times. Mm-hmm. Now, on a Kanye West side, I rewind a little bit back to the listening party, I think Kanye West is definitely in tune with culture. Reason why. So the second listening party happened a little bit after Versus, right? He had the locks on one of the tracks. The third listening party, the locks are off, right? Jay-Z is off. But
took him off the track completely?
Yes. But the baby takes over Jay-Z's part, and the baby is trending because of the whole cancel situation. Marilyn Manson, for some reason, was was at the house with him, like he never left his side, and he is going through recent, legal issues. So I'm like, oh, you are creating different experiences based off what's happening now. So you almost in what I was saying earlier, where we already heard the album, he may be playing like you heard it, but you don't know what's going to be the final one because you heard a J version. You know, you heard Kid Cudi, but you didn't hear that in the third one. You heard the baby, right? But you might not know if he's going to be on it in the final one. You know, you heard Favi, you heard all these other people, but you don't know who makes it because even in the listening part, we're like, yo, where's Griselda? Where's the Locks? And if this is going over your head, I apologize. I'm just saying this is the passion part about me. But like you didn't know who to expect besides The Weeknd and the baby, not the baby, Little Baby. It's too many babies. The Weeknd and Little Baby, because that song is fire, beyond fire. It's already on the album track. When you look at the pre-order.
Yeah.
But going back to the verses between those two, I think Drake is going to win. Even though Kanye's genius. I mean, he made his money. It's going to get on a how much money did you make kind of vibe if it plays into a real battle like that.
Well, that's what I'm thinking because I'm saying, you know, when I made that example between 50 and Kanye back in the day, they were still counting album sales.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with streaming platforms, I don't know that they can still, I'm not saying they can't, I just don't know, you know, because if you think about it, like back then, unless you were an absolute diehard fan,
Mm-hmm.
you were going to buy one album versus the other. You weren't necessarily going to go out and buy both.
Right.
But the everyday consumer today has access to platforms like Tidal,
Yep.
Apple Music, Spotify. You can easily go through the entire, you know, album of Drake's and then do the same exact thing for Kanye's.
Yep.
And I think most people will. So to your point, I think there is going to be other metrics to measure from a battle standpoint. They're going to have to look for other metrics to really measure, okay, who put out the better album or who had the more successful release. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds from a streaming side versus what we've seen traditionally, which is like, okay, let's see how many records you sell versus how many records I sell.
And there is a difference with the 50 Cent thing, because remember, 50 did it because he knew his sales were going down. He knew that. Mm-hmm. So he was like, I'm going to go up against Kanye because I know that's going to at least spike it a bit. And it did. He didn't expect to win. He just needed his numbers to go up. Right. Where I don't think Drake necessarily needs that. I don't think he needs it at all. I'm just very interested to see what happens this coming Friday and how that's going to be. But Drake's take too long for this album, period. This was supposed to come out in January.
Right.
So this better be amazing. Like, amazing. Because I already know Kanye's is amazing. I already know that. We know This is a really, really good album. A lot of features, but a really, really good album. And his creative ways of how he's been doing these listening parties, it went from very simple to a little bit more aesthetic. And then that exit of him leaving like he's going into heaven to now his house, his childhood home in the middle, burning up, all these different, the whole Kim situation, in which we over here really, truly hope that you are working on your marriage. We are good with working on marriages. All right? I don't, even though I said something crazy on my live, I don't know if you heard it. I said, my unselfish side really wants them to work, right? Because they're a family, they have kids. They've been together for too long. I want them to work it out. My selfish side, right, said when you were together, you and Jay-Z weren't cool. Now that you look like you're back together, Jay-Z is off the album. I do not care for this relationship. This is hurting music, right? So,
Wow. Yep. No, I hear you on that though.
so hey, look at you. I kind of agree, but yes, please work out your marriage, please.
Yeah.
For the sake of the kids, I'm here for that. But all in all, I think this is great for culture. This is great as far as looking at different models of how to release a product. And everything from I think we said it on either the after show or we went over how to, when you have a project or product service, whatever you have, to show it to a select few. You can then come out with extra products like merchandise, like gadgets or whatever, and sell that and milk out this release as much as you can until the product comes out, right? Or you could pull a Drake and do teasers for 19 million years and then do something crazy like interrupt ESPN. Now, I'm not saying we can do that, but what social media platform can you take over? Who do you know in your network that can be like, yo, why is this person taking over this one? I thought of that. Like, that would be really cool to see,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It definitely makes for a good story. Like I said, I'm for this one, I'm enjoying it from just a fan perspective, and I'm like, okay, let's see how this thing plays out. I'm really interested to see how that goes.